So, therefore, welcome to this API Conference 2020. I welcome you all presenters. So, I am glad to, take charge of this session as a session chair. My name is Dr. Firdous Ahmad Malik. So, we are going to today take the session for room number 9. So, I would love to, call the first presenter 01R9 Kuta. Please present your paper and your presentation time is 12 minutes and then 3 minutes will be question and answer. Okay, you can start now. So please share your presentation.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Firdous Malik. This is me, Andia Agustina, part of the team. Now I want to present my research experience. The title is Moderating Competency on the Effect of Owner, IQ, AQ, and HQ on micro, small, medium entity performance in Denpasar City. In issue or in MSME or micro, small, medium entities are trading machines managed by business entities or individual, referring to productive economic enterprises in accordance with the criteria set out by law number 20 of 20H. Which one internal factor, including the intelligence, it has three or several intelligence in humans, including intellectual intelligence, emotional intelligence, and spiritual intelligence that can influence of individual performance. In literature review about moderating competency on the effect of owner IQ on MSME performance than Pasar City, the intellectual intelligence can be defined as intellectual abilities in the form of analysis, logic, and ratio. From Pandey et al., found that the higher an individual's IQ level, the better their performance. However, a current recent study by Nimartini et al. And the first hypothesis is competence strengths, the influence of IQ on the performance of MSME owner in Denpasar City. Next, about moderating competency on the effect of owner EQ on MSME performance Denpasar City. That individual EQ makes individual more aware of emotion effectively to achieve goals, build productive relationship, and achieve success. Ioni provide empirical evidence that EQ has an insignificant negative effect on employee performance. Then the proposed hypothesis is competence strengthens the influence of EQ on the performance of MSME owners in Denpasar City. The last of hypothesis about moderating competency on the effect of owner EQ on MSME performance in Denpasar City. That makes research conducted by Pandey found that SQ has not effect on employee performance. However, 2020, in the following years, ergoes the individual who have a high SQ level will have better performance than individual who have a low SQ. Then the proposed hypothesis is competence strengthens the influence of SQ on the performance of MSME owner in Denpasar City. Okay, the research methodology. In my research, have population 31 point 31 thousand 826. The sample with estimate interval of 0.10 or 10% and uh, and equal 99 99 point 686 or rounded up to 100. Okay, the result. Table 1 classic assumption test. This table shows the result of classical assumption testing. In this study, Bayesian testing was carried out in 4 ways, where the test results show the data is normally distributed because the test results are 0.9, the greatest than 0.05. That's a meaning from free from heteroscedasticity. Then table 2 about moderated regression analysis. The result of the multiple linear regression analysis. So the edges are square of 0.556, which means that 55.6% of Denpasar City MSME performance is influenced by AQ, SQ, and competence, while the remaining 44.4% variance of other variable are not included in the study. Okay, the result of my experience for first hypothesis, yeah, T count of 20600 and HCH with a significant of 0.009 is less than or equal 0.05. This is show about competence for individual to produce higher quality output than the output that other individual can produce. Then the result of testing the second hypothesis obtained a T count of 1.654 with a significance of 0.101 less or equal 0.05. This means that competence is not able to strengthen or weaken direct relationship that AQ has on the performance of MSMEs in Denpasar City. Then the last result, testing the hypothesis of then T account value of 2.056 with a significance of 0.043, the less or equal 0.05. This means the competence strengthens the influence of SQ on the performance of MSMEs in Denpasar City. The existence of competences strengthens this relationship because competence is a capacity demands of the job, and in accordance with the things that have been said, the organization with which will ultimately bring the desired result by the individual himself. Then individual who have high competence will be able to work who wholeheartedly, try to be committed to the progress of the organization and be flexible and able to blend in with surrounding environment. Okay, this can describe the attributes needed to productive, effective performance. Conclusion of my experience, the result of the uh, first hypothesis that provide empirical evidence that competence strengthens the influence of IQ on the performance of MES in Denpasar City by 28.9%. The result of the second hypothesis that provide empirical evidence that competence cannot moderate the effect of AQ on the performance of MSMEs in Denpasar City. Limitation in result. First, the object of this research can still be developed so that further researchers can compare the performance of MSMEs between cities. And last, the before of the respondent under study is the personality of the respondent personally. It is better to add an interview to the research instrument. Okay, thank you for attention of my experience. I back to Mr.
Yes.
Malik. Yes.
Okay, it was nice presentation. So anybody from the audience, are you having any question? Anybody wants to ask any question?
No, I think no.
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 So I will ask you some few questions. Why you have chosen this study? So I am asking the presenter the first question: why you have chosen this study? What is the scope of your study? Okay, so are you able to answer this question? Are you, getting my voice? No? Okay, so let us, invite the second presenter. So please, present your this topic. Who is second presenter? 09?
I am.
Okay, great.
Okay. Okay, I can share screen now.
Yeah, you can share the screen. Okay, the first presenter, please, off your this presentation. Close your presentation. First presenter, please close your presentation. Sit up
I am
present.
present as well.
Yeah,
I
are
will
you?
present.
Okay. Actually, you will only present. First presenter will set up the presentation.
Sorry?
Number
Yeah,
one, please stop the presentation. Number one,
Sorry.
please stop. Please stop the screen, share screen. Number one, please stop share screen.
Okay, great. So second presenter, please present your this presentation.
Okay, I will share screen now.
Yeah.
Okay, my content is you can see now in my presentation now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes, yes. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you for Mr. Firdous, and we are a friend from University Mahasiswati. Thank you for your time has been given. Here the research will present the result of the research with the title Discussing of BUMDES Transparency based on governance principle. This research, I am Desai and my team is Ida Yunirma Prameswari. This research perform our research. This is about qualitative research. Okay, introduction first. BUMDES Desai Sangsa Village is the one of the BUMDES based on transparency, managed accountable participation principle, and is carried out in an ordinary and budgetary discipline amidst the temporary case escalation during about the COVID-19 pandemic. BUMDES is the one of economic institution of the rural communities where funds are.
Selesai pemfotoan dan. Sarang.
Sorry for the mute of the conference. Okay, BUMDES in one the economic institution of rural communities where funds are transferred to the field fund, so that it is often associated with governance and transparency. To increase the level of public trust in public sector organization, it is often
Ya, Bro.
associated with governance, where the principle of transparency include is part with which is also associated with leadership theory. There is a studies that can discuss the principle of transparency in organization have actually been really studied. However, not many people know about the principle of transparency using the case study research method in BUMDES. Especially to BUMDES have made the requirement for the legality principle in the form of legality in through the Ministry of Law and Human Rights. And BUMDES Registered Institution Village has the registered as a legal entity from the Directorate of General Legal Administration since December of 50 of 2021. And to determine case boundaries about the governance theory, accountability about managed BUMDES Vijayasari Sangsang Village to manage of Permendagri number 20 of 20 and 18 concerning management village payments in Article 1, paragraph 6, which is adjusted to the principle of governance about three accountability. Accountability is of administration, reporting, and liability. This study have the purpose is to convey and the information of the phenomena of the transparency regarding in minimizing irregularities in the use of funds, preventing public distrust, and similar organization goals. After reviewing the study and that have discussed, the following is the conceptual framework from our presentation, and then the literature review about stewardship theory is designed where stewards are motivated to act in accordance with principles, relationships that are based on trust, collective in accordance with organization goals. About governance theory, stewardship and governance mean like accountability, and accountability is one of the important about element governance, as transparency is one of the principles of accountability to realize good governance in order to prevent open governance in order to harness financial information. About research method, the research used interpretative about the understand deeply about why the regulation of reality, and then quality research. The research used case study research from the yin, and the data type and data source. The research used two data, primary data and secondary data. Primary data about the interview and observation, secondary data about activity, photo, and public documents. The research techniques, we have 3 steps about informant consent, anonymity, and confidentiality. The research informant, with this research, the research used 2 informant about key informant and validator informant. Key informant use the code about K1 and K2. K1 is chairman, and then K2 is tracer about BUMDes Wijesari in Sansang Village. And then validator informant use the code about K3 is supervisory about supervisory board secretary BUMDes Wijesari in Sansang Village. Okay, this is a research method by the Yin have a 3-step about step. The first, define and design. The second is prepare, collect, and analyze. The third is analyze and conclude. Define and design have 3 steps. This is develop theory, select case, and design that collection protocol. And then next there is the prepare, collect, and analyze. You can choose some case study, and this case study is accountability of administration, reporting, and liability. And then after choose the case study, write individual case report. And the last, the research is use analyze and conclude. We and have 4 steps. The second is modify theory, the third about development policy implication, and the last is write cross case report. About qualitative research validity checking techniques, have a 4 step is the credibility, transferability, dependability, and confirmability. The last method and presentation of data analysis, the research use narrative text. About discussion, we have 3 important about the accountability of administration from the informant. The first is report regarding cash receipt, disbursement, and finance are made with a system of openness and transparency. The second is reports regarding cash receipt, disbursement, and financial are made in a timely manner. The third, the administration of BUMDes Wijesari is accountable. The next is the important about accountability of reporting. BUMDes Wijesari in Sansang Village have a 4 meaning. 4 important meaning is the first is the implementation accountability of reporting makes the income statement, balance sheet prepared in orderly manner. And the second, accountability of reporting is participatory. And the third, the implementation accountability of reporting makes profit and loss statement and balance sheet prepared in accounts with clear and easy to understand standard. The fourth, announcement, the accountability of reporting with implementation is to make profit and loss report and balance sheets regarding policy announcements regarding income, financial and assets management. At the last, the important accountability about liability have 2 meaning is the first, accountability of liability BUMDes Wijesari applying the pecuniary principle. And the second, accountability of liability BUMDes Wijesari applying the principle of budget discipline. About a 3 accountability, in order to improve the principle of transparency, management performance, protect stakeholder, and improve compliance with the regulation of the Permendagri, Permendes, and ADRT about BUMDes Wijesari in Sansang Village, as well as generally accept ethical value. Village community organizations are required to carry out their activity in accordance with governance principle. BUMDes Wijesari in Sansang Village has implemented a governance structure, governance process, and governance output in its management process. These 3 governance are defined as governance structure and infrastructure so that the implementation process runs effectively and products outcomes that are in line with the expectation of the organization stakeholder. About the conclusion, BUMDes Wijesari in the accountability of organization reporting and liability have implemented the principle of transparency in every process. However, there are characteristics and principles adopted to improve the governance, such as is budget order and discipline, participatory, accountable, open system, clear and easy to understand standard, precautionary principle, honesty, time alliance, and announcement of policy regarding revenue, management, finance, and asset. But the limitation in case study research deciding the transparency of BUMDES based on governance principle is that research only use informant who are the main key in management BUMDES. It should be added with direct community interview that can see whether the principle of transparency based on governance principle has been by the village community. Okay, thank you for the time of presentation. So many presentations for the research director, the Mr.
Yes. Am I audible? Anyone having any question? Is there anyone having question for her? Participants, please ask a question. Make this session very interesting. If people are remaining silent, it is not good. So it is your conference, so you should participate. You should ask a question, query, about the things. That is why we are doing the conferences, so that you can get benefit. Am I audible to you all?
I think that's all. I don't have any question for this research.
Yeah. Anybody having any question for her? So again, the same question to you: why you have selected this, session, this topic? What is the motivation of your research? Why you have chosen this topic for your research?
Sorry, this is Malik. You have.
Yes. I am asking you a simple question.
Yeah.
What is the motivation of your research?
Okay, motivation is the research. My motivation is the research is the BUMDES is the one the economic institution, especially in Bali, BUMDES as a like the LPD, and the structural economic is the about the structural governance about the BUMDES the circulation during the COVID-19 pandemic. And BUMDES Widesari sometimes feel like is the one of good from the other BUMDES.
Yeah, listen. So I will, give you some suggestions that research motivation is not that what is about the particular location or region you have chosen. Okay. Research motivation is what you are going to do in that particular study. What are the questions which you are trying to answer, and how will you go with this study? These are the things which should come in the motivation. So it should be unique in nature. That why you have chosen this particular study, how it will help in the knowledge of research. What are the things which you are going to answer? What is in your mind going on? How the previous studies have dealt or done any research on this particular topic. So these things should come very clearly in your research. What is your main objective of your research? What is the hypothesis? So there is a structure of research, okay? Structure of research article. So from the beginning, if you are going to present this paper or publish this paper, so for the reader, these things should be very clear. That what is the objective of this paper, why you have chosen this paper. Lastly, what this paper has contributed, what is the policy approach of this paper. Okay, you try to focus. If you want to publish it, you try to focus on these things, follow up the existing literature. So with this, okay, it was a good presentation. Try to focus on more what you wanna, explore in this study. What is your finding? Because it should be very clear to the audience who will read your paper or editor. Thank you very much. So who is the next presenter now?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Firdous. I will stop share my content. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Third presenter. Who is our third presenter?
Yeah, I am the third presenter.
Yes,
I want
you
to share the presentation.
Yes, you share.
Okay, good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunities for this time. I want to explain a little bit explanation about my research with the title of Does the dividends policy affect the stock price? With my name is Iko Pramadi with my team Ika Dek Bagiana and Putu Ayudhya dari Putri from Universitas Mahasiswa Denpasar. Okay, the main topic of this research is about the introduction. Stock price fluctuation are caused by a variety of variables, one of which is corporate dividend distribution. Dividends are not only a source of income for investors, but they also serve as a barometer of large firms' performance, one of which is in the manufacturing industry. Manufacturing companies' outstanding performance can be measured not just in terms of asset management, but also in terms of their ability to pay dividends, resulting in a rise their stock price. Companies with a bigger market capitalization are better equipped to pay dividends than companies with a smaller market capitalization. Hence, this will affect the stock price. The natural logarithm of the company's total assets was used to calculate the size of the company in this study. And the research gap of in this research is the previous research of the impact of a dividend policy on stock price has been done, but differing research outcomes have resulted in a gap or research gap between one study and the next. According Almiati, Samosir, Salam, and Rohadi and are among the studies that claim dividend policy has a favorable impact on stock prices. Dividend policy, according to Febrianti, Novitasari, Latifah, and Suryani, Lavina, and Dermawan has not effect on stock prices. And the goal of the research is the goal of this study is to re-examine and confirm the effect of dividend policy on stock prices with firm size as the moderating variable based on the phenomena and differences in the results of these studies. And the next is the literature review. The signality theory is company that greatly rise dividend payments will see a commensurate increase in share prices, while companies that significantly reduce or abolish dividend payments will see a corresponding reduction in share prices. The market views a corporation announcement of dividend distribution as a favorable indication, according to Ross 1977. And the next literature is about stock price. The stock price in the capital market will always fluctuate in response to market conditions and other variables. The dynamics of demand and supply from investors are mostly responsible for the price of shares formed in the stock market. The stock price that used in the study is the year's and closing stock price data. And the literature, the last is dividend policy. Dividend policy is a financial decision made by the management after the company generates profit. Companies must decide whether to pay profit to shareholders in the form of dividends or utilize them to finance investment, according Jara 2018. And the research methodology in this research is this study employs quantitative methodologies and released on secondary data gathered by visiting Earth's company website. The data used in this study comes from its company annual report as of December 31, 2020. The study's population consists of 194 manufacturing enterprises that are listed on the Indonesia Stock Exchange. Purpose sampling was utilized and a total of 72 firms were acquired. The goal of this research was to employ a purposive sampling strategy to create a representative sample that met preset criteria. And the research methodology in the stable one research sample selection, yes. For the samples criteria and total, where the manufacturing company list on the Indonesia Stock Exchange in 2020 is 194, and the manufacturing company listed on the Indonesia Stock Exchange that not distribute dividend is 2020 is 122, and the number of sample is 72, and the research period is 1 year. And so total observation data in this research is 72. I got the source data data process from 2022. And the next is the hypothesis testing was also performed utilizing PET analysis using the partial least square or PLS approach with smart PLS software version 3.3.6 to acquire the study's result. The next step is to interpret the findings of the analysis based on theoretical and empirical studies in order to answer the research question and provide evidence to support the theory and prior empirical investigation. The final phase is to draw findings and give recommendation for further research. And the discussion about this research is the effect of dividends policy on stock price. The result of the analysis state that dividend policy has a positive effect on stock prices with a t-statistic of 2.342 and a p-value of 0.011 at a 5% significance level. This demonstrates that a firm's dividends policy can entice investors to purchase stock in the company. When the company announced that it will deliver dividends, investors desire to register as holders of right to receive dividends from the company. So the share price tends to rise. And the second is from size moderating effects. The result of the analysis state the company size is not able to strengthen or weaken the effect of dividend policy on stock price with a t-statistic of 1.429 and a p-value of 0.079 and a significance level of 5%. The role of business size is not a moderating variable according to statistical findings because the corporation has various options in developing its business. The size of the company is not a decisive factor in delivering dividends to shareholders. And the conclusion of the research, the conclusion of this research is the first, dividend policy has a positive effect on the stock price. This means that the higher the dividend paid, the higher the increases in the company's stock price. Firm size is not able to strengthen or weaken the effect of dividend policy on stock price, so it is not classified as a moderating variable. Okay, thank you. That's all for the presentation about this research. Question and comment are welcome. Thank you.
Okay, nice. So before we will go for question and answer, let us welcome our co-chair for this session, Professor Karshima. She is a full-time faculty at Symbiosis University, Mumbai. So we welcome to ma'am. So other participants, if you are having any question, please go ahead, ask the question.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Anybody having any particular question for the third presenter?
Yes, sir, I have.
Okay, ma'am, go ahead.
So, you said that you have done your literature review from the websites that are relevant for your study. Why haven't you incorporated relevant papers from Scopus Index journals?
Excuse me, I can.
Should I repeat? Should I repeat?
Yeah, you can repeat
Yes.
the question.
So, from what I could figure out, I
Yes.
got to know that you have used all your secondary data from only websites, relevant websites, because your nature of your research is also such related to dividends and stocks. But still, why wasn't any research papers from Scopus Index journals used?
Yes. Thank you. Why I'm use the second data from the website, because in the website in the Indonesian exchange, the company share about their dividend in the website about company about their company in the Indonesian exchange stock. So in the private company, we little bit difficult to find about their report finance and how the people how the company to share about uh, about the stock prices and the dividends, because the many company in the private company is not have allowed to share their financial report for the public. So we use the second data from the website, because they are a public company in the uh, Indonesian exchange. Then we can got data from there.
Anybody having any question? I'm having question about your methodological, results. You go to your, conclusion, where you have shown your conclusion. Please go to the last slide.
I'm so sorry, because I can't to hear clearly about your
I am asking you,
question.
please, show your, result slide.
About the results is
Yeah.
yes, about the results for
Yeah.
this research is
No,
the
I am asking you, go to the slide number where you are, presenting your this results of the study. Please go to that slide where you have discussed the results of your study.
previous.
One more previous. One
Yeah, I
more.
just want.
No. Go please where you are discussing the figures. Figures. It is conclusion. Go to the discussion.
Okay, the conclusion is the meaning. A dividend policy has a positive effect on
No,
stock prices.
please listen to me clearly. I am asking you, go to the slide number where you are discussing the results. Am I audible to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, here. The last slide which you have made already.
Okay. The discussion when the company announced it will deliver dividends.
No, next slide, please. Next slide.
This.
Yeah. So here you are having, your model is insignificant. The p value
Yeah.
is how you are explaining this. You just explain this.
Okay. For this, when the fact in the research, when we got in the research from SAS, the SAS company is not a decisive for the company for the delivering dividends, because
No.
this.
Actually, you are writing, wrong things here. The first point, the results of the analysis state that the company size is not able to strengthen or weaken the effect. But you are writing wrong. Your model is insignificant. It is showing that your p value is 7%. But you are writing at the significance of 5%. How you are writing this? So I suggest you go through this study again and check your results. Your results are insignificant for this point. It is 7% error, but you are writing at 5% significance. Please do check it. And one more thing about the
Yes.
methodology. In methodology, it should come very clearly that what is your dependent variable, what is your independent variable, and you have used the smart PLS software. So your model should be come here. What is the model of your study? You have not shown the model of your study. So I think if you have to go for publication, you have to follow up these things very seriously. And one more question to you: what is the scope of your study?
In the Indonesian exchange,
No, what is the scope?
the scope is about stock price and dividend policy.
No, it is not called the scope. So I will again, suggest to you, please follow up good research papers, and just to be clear that why you are going to do this research, what are your research questions, what is the scope of your study, how your study is different. So these arguments, these discussions should be in your paper. To have a good publication, these points should be clearly for the reader there. That why you
And
have
your
chosen.
discussion paragraph should be very clearly mentioning what are the findings of previous authors, then your findings, and a deliberation between both the findings. First and foremost, the paper is not having Scopus index papers in references. So that becomes a big issue. I am sure sir will also agree with that.
Yes. So before we will, put our argument, for example, you are discussing your results, there should be, references of the literature which have done, study like this, and be very, conscious when you are choosing any research methodology. That why are you choosing this smart PLS? Which model you have used? Why you are choosing this model? Is there any previous study which who they have used, this type of methodology? What were their results? Are their results in line with your results? Is their argument? Are they appreciating your results? Are they are opposite to your results? So these things should be, clearly come in your paper. So I congratulate you for this, presentation. Now I would love to, ask the next presenter. Please share your, presentation.
Okay, thank you for the time. I want to stop the presentation. Thank you.
I think the fourth presenter is not here. So can I continue to mine?
Yes, sure.
Stop again. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Tiara Karina here. I'm going to present you my paper, which is conducted with two of my friends, Ms. Mentari and Mr. Putra. It is about how investment motivation and digital literacy affect investment interest among university students. Let me start with the introduction first. The restriction of social activities because of pandemic COVID-19 allows students to have more free time at home. To fill their free time, they become more diligent in looking for interesting information, such as about investment and stocks. According to KSEI, the number of investors is increased from the end of 2019 to the end of 2020 significantly. It means that more people, including students in Indonesia, are motivated to invest in the capital market rather in the real sector, which is collapsed during this pandemic. According to the previous study, investment motivation had a significant influence on student investment interests. Yet different results also came from previous study, which found that motivation had no effect on investment interest in the capital market in the millennial generation during the COVID-19 pandemic. Technological developments require students to have good digital literacy, especially since this pandemic, almost everything will be related to and utilize technology. Good results are obtained if students as investors are able to take advantage of technological advances by having good digital literacy. Digital literacy will encourage students to invest because of the ease of information they get. They are expected to get results that are in line with their expectations. So we have three variables here. The first one is investment motivation as independent variable. The second one is digital literacy as also independent variable. And the third one is investment interest as dependent variable. We have three hypotheses here. The first one is investment motivation and digital literacy have a simultaneous effect on investment interest. The second one is investment motivation has a partial effect on investment interest. And the last one is digital literacy has a partial effect on investment interest. We studied active students of economic and business faculty of Unmas Denpasar from class of 2019 to class of 2021. And our samples were 380 respondents who were selected using stratified random sampling method. Before we administrate our instrument, we test the validity and reliability of our instrument first, and then we do the hypothesis testing using multiple linear regression analysis. Okay, according to the validity and reliability test result, we can conclude that our three of our instruments are valid and reliable, which the investment interest variable has 9 total items, and then the investment motivation has 9 total items, and digital literacy variable has 10 total items. Okay, according to our data analysis, 380 respondents in this study came from 3 batches at Economic and Business Faculty of Unmas Denpasar, consisting of 126 students in the class of 2019, 126 students in the class of 2020, and 128 students in the class of 2021. 28.42% of our respondents were male and the remaining were female. Our respondents range in the early adolescent stage age range, which is range from 20 to 40 years, as many as 52.89%. And the rest are in the adolescent stage, which are aged from 17 to 19 years, as much as 47.1%. Okay, before we test our hypothesis using multiple linear regression analysis, we do the classical assumption test to our data first. According to the result, our data pass the normality, multicollinearity, and heteroscedasticity test. So we can continue to test our hypothesis using multiple linear regression analysis. As we can see in this table, in this ANOVA table, the significancy is below 0.05. You can see it here. The significancy value is 0.00, which means that our first hypothesis is accepted. It can be concluded that investment motivation and digital literacy simultaneously affect investment motivation. And then we can also see in this table that the adjusted R-square value is 0.475, which means that 47.5% of investment interest can be explained by the investment motivation and digital literacy. And the remaining 52.5% is explained by other variables outside our research model. And the R value of 0.691 indicates a strong relationship between variables. Okay, we can also see in this table that all independent variables, the X1 and X2, have a value of significancy below 0.05. That means that our second and third hypotheses are accepted. So it can be concluded that investment motivation and digital literacy significantly, partially also affect investment interest. We can also make a regression equation here, which is y equals to 5.412 plus 0.433x1 plus 0.344x2. The regression coefficients of investment motivation and digital literacy have a positive value. It means that the higher the investment motivation and the better digital literacy, the more interest a person has to invest. Okay, according to the result, it was found that investment motivation has an influence on investment interest. The result of the study are supported by previous research, which found that investment motivation has an effect on investment interest. During this pandemic, good financial conditions are a necessity. This need motivates the community, including students, especially in Unmas Denpasar, to invest in the capital market. Apart from having strong motivation, the increasing interest in investment during the pandemic is also due to the better digital literacy. This pandemic has changed people's behavior to get used to the online system. This indirectly encourages the increase in digital literacy of the community, including students in economic and business faculty in Unmas Denpasar. And the results of the study found that digital literacy has an impact on investment interest. The better digital literacy will make them easier to find information related to investment and analyze company fundamentals or analyze the market. So the conclusion is investment motivation and digital literacy significantly affect investment interests both simultaneously and partially. Investment is now not just a desire, but has become a necessity that affects individuals' financial plans in long term. This need is what makes the motivation to invest appear even in the pandemic condition. And unfortunately, the pandemic has also made people's digital literacy better because many systems have turned online to minimize interaction between communities. The ease of access to information related to investment facilitates people to monitor investment to minimize their risk of loss. Okay, that's the end of my presentation. If you have any question, please feel free to ask. Thank you.
Yeah, anybody having any question? Anybody from the team wants to ask the question? So can you, please show me your title? Yeah, anybody having any question? He or she can ask the question. Anybody having any question, or I should go? So if you show your model result, there is some error in that. There should be decimal. It is comma. You try to show the converge alpha results. The result slide where you are showing the reliability results. Please go to that slide. Make it zoom. I mean, make it this. Yeah, you check converge alpha values coefficients. There should be 0.87. It should be point. It should not be comma. So it has been error there. So again, go to the conclusion now. In conclusion, you are telling things which you have not done in your study. Yes, you just read these. The ease of access to information related to investment facilities to monitor investment to minimize the risk loss. You have done anything on risk?
Sorry, cannot get you.
I'm telling you, do you have done any investigation about the risk of digital risk in your study?
Not yet. I think it in the our consideration to study in our next research.
No, it should not be in conclusion. In conclusion, things should be very clear that what you have done in the study. Okay, you should not keep the things which you have not done. That is why it is called a research. You cannot generalize things. You cannot take things from outside and write down in your conclusion. Conclusion should be neat and clean. That what you have done in this study. So this is the thing. Again, check the converge alpha results instead of decimal. There you have write down the comma. So go to the ANOVA result. ANOVA slide where you are discussing your ANOVA results. Go to the slide where you are showing ANOVA results. Are you getting me?
Sorry, cannot get you.
I am telling you where you are discussing the ANOVA analysis of variance results. Please go to that slide.
why do I choose to study this topic? Do you mean that?
No. I don't want to answer that question. I am asking you to show me the results where you are discussing ANOVA, analysis of variance.
ANOVA?
Yeah.
ANOVA. This one?
Yeah. So your F statistics is 172. How you are discussing this result?
Okay, because I use multiple linear regression analysis, so we can see the significance value in this ANOVA table is 0.00, which is below 0.05.
Yes. You are right. So what is your null hypothesis?
My hypothesis is
Null hypothesis.
my first hypothesis is investment motivation and digital literacy have a simultaneous effect on investment interest.
Yes, I am asking you, is it null hypothesis or alternative hypothesis?
Is there? I'm sorry, I cannot get you.
There are two types of hypothesis, null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. Which hypothesis you have accepted and which hypothesis you have rejected?
Yeah, the alternative hypothesis is accepted.
So it should be very clear. You should write down these things that we have rejected the null hypothesis.
Okay.
Because the results are less than 0.05 level of significance. The thumb rule is one is the result is F statistics is less than 0.05. We are rejecting the null hypothesis. That means we have accepted the alternative hypothesis. You have to write down these things so that reader can develop interest in this study. You have write down simply H1. H1 is accepted. And H2, H3. You should mention what is null hypothesis and what is alternative hypothesis, isn't it?
I think I did write this one, which means that the first hypothesis is accepted. This is my first alternative hypothesis.
No. The statistics language, the language of statistics is H0 and H0.
H0 and H1. Okay.
Yeah, you can tell my first hypothesis is, for example, that the investment motivation and digital literacy are significantly affecting each other. You can tell it is the null hypothesis or it is my hypothesis 1. Then you can tell my hypothesis second is there, but within the second there should be null and alternate. Then again the third hypothesis, there should be null and alternate. Okay, so you should take care of these things very clearly. So I found this study is very interesting, but you should at the end also be conscious while interpreting the results. You should not tell the story which you have not done, just like you have done in the conclusion. Okay, so these are some pointers. Anybody having any question? Is there anybody who wants to ask the question? So there is nobody. So we have one more presenter, R9. Is this R9? Okay, great.
Thank you, Mr. Malik, for your advice. I will stop sharing my screen.
So wait 1 minute, all before the next presenter will present his this. Please on the camera so that we can take a group photo first. Then we can move ahead. All the presenters or the participants who are in this group, please open your camera. We will take a group photo. Yes, please. So is there Karshima ma'am? Please on your camera. And Desai. So we are waiting for 2 more respondents. Please on your camera so that our group photo will be good. So are you there, Karshima ma'am? Am I audible to you all? So people are not interested to take the group photo. Those who are there, I will take for them. Okay? So smile. So next presenter, please present your research.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Malik. So I'm the last presenter here. I'll present my research, and then I'll share my screen.
Yeah, you tell me what is the serial number of your presentation on the schedule.
Sorry, is it mean my title or
No.
my team number?
Yeah, team number.
Okay. So my team number is 6. Our team is the last presenter on this room, on room 9.
Okay.
And my team is contain. My first member is Nikadek Nonik Rasminingsing, and she can't be here at the moment. And myself.
Yeah. You tell her name. What is her name? Because I have to, I have to fill the feedback form. So I don't know the name of
the first writer is Nikadek Nonik Rasminingsing, as written on the screen.
It is serial number 6. Serial number 6, you mean? Yeah. I have seen. Okay, go ahead, please.
Yeah. Serial number 6. Serial number 6.
Okay. Go ahead, please.
Okay. So this is my my team member, concerned Nikadek Nonik Rasminingsing, and she can't be here at the moment. And then the second member is me, Imade Aditya Wardana, and the third one is Putu Ari Pertiwi Sanjiwani.
Okay.
So today I'll present about our research. Our title is Transformational Leadership and Workplace Spirituality on Employee Performance Mediated by Organizational Commitment. Moving to the next slide. In this slide, I'll tell about the introduction of our research. First one, I'll tell you about business competition. Nowadays, business competition or competition in business industry is very tight. That makes human resource is the most valuable aspect for a firm to stay as well as to keep survive. And then in human or employee, achieving good organizational goals, it takes a very important role of HRM or human resource management on the organization and also utilization of employee to increase the productivity. The implement of proper HRM is based on a firm during the obtainment of desired employee. And then we are moving to employee performance. Employee performance is defined as a result of the achievement of an organizational activity that has a strong relationship with the organizational goals. Also, employee performance in organization has a close relationship with human resource management of the organization. If organization can manage and optimize the capabilities of existing human resource, they will be able to produce higher employee performance, and so the achievement of these goals will motivate employee to behave well and will take appropriate decision for the company. Nowadays, more organizations realize that employee performance is one key behind the success of the organization. Therefore, the organization management need to find methods and adjust the organization vision and mission through the effectiveness and efficient use of human resource. And then now we are moving to organizational commitment. Organizational commitment is how employee loyalty tests based on their attitude. Strong commitment needed to be in the organization. Also, the willingness to work hard as desired by the organization, and they need to accept and believe the organization values and goals. Organization commitment is one factor that affects the employee performance. Employees that committed to work always dedicate their effort to work hard and to achieve an optimal result. And then the workplace spirituality, the most basic concept of workplace spirituality is that workplace spirituality is not a religious practice or divinity and religion. As an individual who holds an Eastern culture, the harmony of the relationship between spirituality and work is able to provide more encouragement to individuals to increase productivity in the workplace. Good spirituality providing guidance for individual to apply the right beliefs according to the rules in their workplace. And then in the last one, I'll describe about transformational leadership. Transformational leadership is a leadership style in which leaders encourage, inspire, and motivate employees to innovate and create change that will help them grow and shape the future success of the organization. Transformational leaders are able to handle a change, determine the direction by preparing a future vision, and able to transmit the vision to the employee. Transformational leadership can encourage employee trust and show their loyalty, to show the loyalty to their leaders and help them to go beyond individuals' interests for the organizational goals. Based on this background, the author or we are interested to making research on the transformational leadership and workplace spirituality on employee performance mediated by organizational commitment on the LPD in Denpasar Timur. So moving to our literature review in social exchange theory, in that time, an organization do the well management of the employee, then happen an exchange in social relationship which promised to make improvement on employee performance. A good and appropriate share process between leaders and employees will cause communication between the two will be smoother and better. Moving to the next slide, in research methodology, study was conducted on LPD in Denpasar Timur district. LPD is local bank that managed by the village in the district. So usually one district have couples of villages. So this research was conducted on LPD in Denpasar Timur. The population was 160 people with 139 respondents as a sample, determined using purposive sampling, which was a technique of selecting respondent sample through certain consideration that met the criteria of the researchers. The research used opinion poll as research instrument. SEM PLS with Smart PLS 3.0 was used to analyze the data. Moving to the next slide is the discussion. As you can see on the table, all variables had an average value about 0.550, and the correlation value for each variable was higher compared to the correlation between variables. And then I'll continue the discussion in the next slide. The R-square values of the employee performance variable was 0.579. It can be interpreted that 57.9% of employee performance construct variability was explained by organizational commitment, transformational leadership, and workplace spirituality, while the remaining 42.1% of the employee performance variables were explained by variables outside the model. Likewise, the organizational commitment variable had an R-square values of 0.643, meaning that 64.3% of its variability was explained by transformational leadership, workplace spirituality, and employee performance, while the remaining 35.7% of organizational commitment variables were explained by variables outside the model. And then I'll conclude the presentation in these slides. Based on the analysis, then it can be concluded transformational leadership workplace spirituality positively significantly affect the employee performance, and transformational leadership, organizational commitment, and workplace spirituality significantly affect the organizational commitment. And the last one, organizational commitment able to strengthen the effect of transformational leadership and workplace spirituality into employee performance. That's our presentation for today. thank you for having me to present our presentation, and I'm happy to hear your question and will answer your question.
So is there anybody from the team who wants to ask a question? Please go ahead. Anybody wants to ask? Please go ahead. So nobody wants to ask a question, so then I will ask myself. So you have not tested any hypothesis? I didn't see your hypothesis.
Our hypothesis,
Yes.
wait,
You have tested the hypothesis?
our hypothesis, wait, let me get my paper first.
If you want to share your paper, you have to then close this presentation first.
Okay, sorry. Oh, sorry, my paper in wait. Let me get my paper first. Our hypothesis.
So if you are unable to share your paper, you can tell your hypothesis, because as in your presentation you didn't show your.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just tell you my hypothesis. So the hypothesis is.
So you do one thing. You first open the paper, then try to share. Once it will be open in your system, then you have to share the screen. Then it will appear.
Can I share the full article, or because my full is haven't translated yet?
Okay. You don't need to share. My question is that why didn't you share your hypothesis in the presentation? Because we were not clear that what technique you have used for the hypothesis. Okay, what were your hypothesis? The second question is how you have selected the purposive sampling. How you have collected? What was the
Okay. I'm calling. Okay, we are collected the purposive sampling by giving them survey in a form.
No, you have mentioned that you have collected the data from the. You have already mentioned that you have used the purposive sampling. I am telling you how you have collected the data at ground.
Okay, how do I have collect my data of purposive sampling?
The second question is that is your study a household study or individual study?
So sorry, I can't hear your second question.
Is your study a household study or individual study? As you are mentioning in your this sampling that there was population and there were respondents. What do you mean by population?
Population sampling?
Yes, population sampling and respondents. They are two different.
Okay.
So is your study a household study or what is it? Please answer that question.
I use population sampling because there is 160 employee in the LPD or in the Denpasar district, and then all of the 160 contains in all LPD in the district. That I was told you before. There is couples of LPD in the Denpasar district, Denpasar Timur district, and because one village have one LPD, and then there is many villages in the district in Denpasar Timur.
Yes, I am asking you that what is the logic of 160 as a population in the sample, and what is the meaning of 139 sample?
139 sampling. Okay. So the meaning of 139 sampling, because there's 160 employee in all LPD, but only 139 is respond to our.
Yes, you should mention like this. You should mention
Yeah,
like
yeah,
this.
yeah. I'm really sorry about that. I forgot to
You,
mention that
sh-
one.
you should write it clearly in your research paper that your sample target was 160 samples. It is not a
Okay, okay.
population. You should write that your target of sampling was 160 samples. But unfortunately, we have got the response of 139 samples. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
So
Thank you for your advice. Thank you so much. I
yeah,
will write down in our next project.
yes. Now the question is how you have collected these 139 samples.
Uh, we send them our forms, our survey, but only 139 that reply to our surveys.
So how it has become now this purposive sampling?
Yeah, 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 true.
So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there is problem in the technique of sampling.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
That's our problem. Thank you for your advice. Thank you so much.
it seems that you have used a random sampling.
Yeah, 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 yeah. We need to use random sampling because not all people respond our survey like that, right?
No, it is not like this. As you have collected the data, it seems that you have used simple random sampling rather than purposive sampling.
Okay, okay, okay. I see, I see, I see.
So
Okay,
you
okay.
make I am not I'm not sure what type of sampling you have. You know better how you have collected the sampling. So you try to focus on that. So
Okay,
while
okay.
discussing your this study, there are a lot of errors in the analysis part. If you try to show the slide, I can highlight you where are the errors. So you are, for example, talking about this R square, but in the result it is some R square you are explaining in type of percentage, where the symbols of percentage 0/0 it in statistics is percentage, but on the other value of the R square that is missing. So
Okay.
while formatting the paper formation should be clear, neat and clean. You cannot put two results of R square in different languages. If you
Okay,
are
okay. Yeah.
using the symbol of percentage, you should use it for both the results. So
Yeah.
there are a lot of statistical and econometric errors in the study which you have presented here. I don't know how you have done it in your paper. Please take care of that. So my last question: what is the contribution of your study?
What is the contribution of our what?
Study of your paper.
Okay. The contribution of my paper, like what I said in the conclusion, that we know the transformational leadership workplace spirituality positively significantly affect the employee performance, and then we give feedback to the LPD, like what they can make to improve the organization. That's the feedback of our paper, and then we give back to the local bank. Sorry.
So which model you have used?
Sorry.
Which model? What was your dependent variable?
The variable.
Dependent. How you have chosen the dependent and independent variable?
How we have to choose dependent variable. Okay. Oh, wait. Let me get in the paper first.
You should know it. As you have done study on it, you should know it.
Yeah, the independent variable is employee performance.
Yes, employment performance. Okay.
And then the dependent variable is the workplace.
Dependent variable is employment performance.
Yeah, the independent is employee performance, and then the dependent variable is the workplace spirituality.
Okay. So, make clear that, whether your dependent and independent variable are clear or and they are in line. Check again the, sampling technique. Check again whether you have used questionnaire, what type of questionnaire you have used it, and what type of sampling technique you have used it. You should be very clear about it. While discussing the results, there should be literature review. And again, be clear about scope of the study, of this, what is the motivation of your research, it should be clear. So anybody in the team wants to ask any question, please? Anybody wants to ask any question? So I think there is no question. All the presenters who have presented, they are having any query, they want to ask anything? Is there any presenter who have to, present? Is there anyone left who have to present yet? Because we have more participants now. If they want to present or talk something, they can. So if not, please open your camera before winding up the session. We can have some photographs. Then I will formally, wind up the session. Please open up your camera so that we can take group photos. All other presenters, please open your camera to have a group photo. And one more thing, we have to make the evaluation. So the presenter, fourth presenter in the serial in the team, he was absent. He or she was absent. So one presenter, paper presenter was absent. Am I right?
Yeah, there's one no presentation. It's team 4, I think.
It was 4, yeah. Team 4 that he or she was absent. So I have to report. So anybody here pending? I am confirming from you that is there anybody who pending whose presentation is yet to be there? No. So let us wait for this, this our second chair person. I am asking her to, open your camera so that we can take formal photograph. Dr. Karshima, please, if you are there, please open the camera so that we can take formal group photo. So, please have a patience of 1 minute. I will ask her on phone to take the photograph because it is a yearly conference. So this type of opportunities are rarely there. Maybe it will be the last online conference because things are turning good now. So meanwhile, if you have any question, you can discuss with me. If you want anything, to discuss, you can tell me. You can take this advantage.
No, I think we are good. And I think most of the people that not showing their camera is away from computer. So it's kind of impossible to tell them to turn on their camera.
No, if they are not able to turn on the camera, no issue. But I am waiting for our, session chair, other Professor Karishma. So I don't know if she was there to take a group photo. So meanwhile, if she will come, open her, camera. Just wait for 2 seconds more, okay? Thanks for your patience. So, before she will come again, I will tell you some, tips about research, as you have done wonderful work. You have presented beautiful papers. Now, there is a question in the feedback that whether your studies are, worth to publish or not. So, for that, I will suggest to you all, please, go through your papers again. Make clear that your methodology is proper. Answer your first question why your study is important. The reader who will read your paper, it should, you should teach him that he don't know anything about your research, and by your research it should be clear for him that what this study is about, why this study is important. These type of questions you have to answer, and what things should come in introduction, how we should write introduction. In introduction also you can write the literature review, important literature review. You can always keep your papers updated with the Scopus Index, publications. Put the right literature from the right journalist. Then on come to the objectives. What is your objective? What is the hypothesis? It should be very neat and clear. Anybody will read your paper, it should not be missing that your objective is missing, your hypothesis is missing. It should be clear that your objective is this, your hypothesis is this. Okay, then come to the methodology. What is your methodology? Why you have chosen this methodology? Why you have chosen this sample? What was your sample size? How you have collected? It should be just like small kids. We are teaching ABCD at some language. We are going very very slow. We are teaching them very minutely things so that they can understand. Just like a small kid is getting birth in a family, we are trying to communicate with him. Tell papa papa, tell mummy mummy. Very basic. Similarly, in research, you have to be very simple. You have to explain each and everything very neat and clear. So the reader, the editor, whom your paper will go, he should know exactly. It is not necessary you will write bombardment this very high level language. Put the language very simple, accurate, grammar and all things should be very clear. But it should be known that what was the objective, what is your abstract, is the abstract following the journal guidelines, why you have chosen this methodology, what are your results, how your results are different from the previous studies, and what is the contribution, what is the policy point. So keep all these things in mind, okay? So with this, I think this Professor Karishma is not available. So at the end, if you have anything there, you can ask me. I am giving you 2 more seconds. If you have anything in mind, you can tell me. So any feedback about the session? How was the session? Do you have any question about the technicality? How was your session? How was your experience attending this conference? Anything is any feedback? How we can improve this conference? Any feedback you can tell me. Do you have any feedback? No.
So far, I think I don't have any feedback because all of us, it is our first time. So yeah, we kind of not understand like what is it have before. So maybe in the next year, where's the next event, we can have feedback to compare both.
So it means you like the conference.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure all of us like the conference.
Anybody else want to give his her feedback? Yeah, number 3, please speak. You want to speak?
I know I don't have feedback because I think this is the first time for me too for the international conference. So I just want to do more learn about the international conference, and I think for now I can to give feedback for this section.
So how was your experience? Don't give feedback. Do you like or not?
Yes, of course I'm like this conference and make many experience for the next conference for better to implementation and explanation explanation about the research.
Okay, number 5, please, give your one word feedback. Number 5.
Yeah, I think the conference has have a good. I have a good experience to join this conference. This is my first time to join online and as a speaker in online conference.
Okay, great. So, Inda, can you speak something?
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. I think I also agree with other participants that this is a good conference gitu. Not just about presenting our research, but also from Mr. Malik also give our some inputting for better research in the future gitu. So I think it's a good conference and I really enjoy this conference.
Okay, great. So, who is next? Next to speak? Our second presenter. Okay, her camera is off. We have Puta Harry. I am not sure that I have, I spoke your name correctly. If you have something, you please share.
Okay, thank you for time for me for speak about this conference. I think I have good memories and good about conference, and thank you for advice my team, my paper with my team with Mr. Aditya. So I thank you for your advice, and yeah, I like to join for conference, and but I'm very nervous because this is my first conference and speak English, speak another language for me gitu. So
Don't worry. Yeah.
I hope next event I can speak English better and no nervous again. Thank you.
Yeah. So this palette for this conference is actually all about to communicate, to learn. So we people are all learning together. So once we will speak, once we will talk, so things will definitely improve. So now our second presenter, Desik made Maya. Please speak one word. Other speaker. Desika, the second presenter of our team. You can give your one word.
I think there's no second presenter because before there's a notice that we can leave after presenting. So maybe most of them are leave already.
No. There is the second presenter is with us. Desik made Maya.
Okay, Desak,
Desik Maya. Desak, yeah.
Okay. Hello,
Yeah.
Mr. Okay, I'm sorry. About this conference is very good for me. This is the first my conference, and I'm sorry because I don't better in English language and any other. And the next event, maybe I will be better for research for English and anymore. Thank you, Mr.
Okay. So I have made recording of this session. If you want to get recording of this session, of your presentation, of your feedback, of your your speaking with me, so I can share it. You can, for that you can write my email ID if you are interested. So it is Malik Firdous, MALIK, 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 FFIRDOUS, Malik Firdous CRC. Can I write, to your, chat box? I will write in your chat box. So, but if we are having, many people, we cannot write only for room number 9. So I don't know how to write for room number 9. So you know each other? Do you know each other?
Yes, of
Yeah, we know.
course.
Yes.
I will,
Oh,
send.
and
I
what-
will send the Jessica my email ID. She can share with you all. Okay.
Okay, okay.
So I am writing your email ID. You will, if you have to, communicate with me, you can. I will share your recording and photograph. So it is not possible to, send. I am writing my email ID to everyone in the meeting. Okay. So it is Malik
Okay.
Firdous crc@gmail.com. You check
Okay.
chat box. In chat box, I have texted Malik Firdous crc@gmail.com.
Yeah, we can see your email. So,
Yes,
Uh,
Firdous sir, as you said that I should speak a few words.
yes, yes.
Thank you for this great opportunity. And we saw some very brilliant research papers. We did give you some genuine feedback. And if you work on them, then you will definitely have chances for publication. Few tips that I would give in a generic sense is that please do an exhaustive literature review before you even attempt to write a research paper. Also, it's a good idea to take only Scopus Index research papers from the past 4 to 5 years. Taking old redundant research papers is contraindicatory for research because the research has evolved. So if you're using older papers, it really does not make too much sense until and unless you want to show evolution of a concept. Also, it's a very good idea to include statistical information and case studies for your research paper. These things definitely help in publications. It's a great idea to go to the website of good ABDC journal and check out how they write literature reviews. So if you visit Emerald website, they have written exhaustively, the content is being mentioned with respect to how to write a literature review. So you can have an in detailed reading of it. Also, it's a good idea to learn in-text citation. A lot of your work does not include in-text citation. So it's a good idea to do that. Also, revise the latest referencing styles. There are multiple styles, and every journal has got different prerequisite requirements. Like some have MLA, IEEE, APA, and some have Harvard book, Blue Book. So you have to look at which style that the journal is expecting you to write your research paper and then move on in that direction. Also, it's a very good idea to thoroughly study the discussion paragraph in all research papers because that's the paragraph that gives us a fair understanding about findings of other research papers, our findings, and deliberation between those findings. It's a good idea to also study what are the different titles that are prescribed as per APA format, American Psychological Association format. There are 3 types. So you can have a look at that and look at the rules and regulations and guidelines, and wish you all the best with respect to future publications. I'm sure there can be great publications from your side, and my best wishes. Thank you so much.
So before that, we will now take a group photo. So we have 2 more participants whose camera is off. If they can on their camera, so we can have a beautiful photo there. If they are interested. So, yes, please give me 1 minute. Give me 1 minute. So I can share your photo in the email ID. I have shared my email ID in the chat box. If you want to photograph, you can write me. I will share your photograph with that. So before ending the session, on behalf of AIBPM Malang Conference 2022, it was nice to meet you all people, wonderful researchers. You have made this conference wonderful and success. So let us end our session successfully. Hope by this discussion we have learned and our session has given you a good platform as a conference and you have shared your research with us. I hope all the papers and the feedbacks which are there we are going to share with the conference organization and management. that will enrich you, your research or your future endeavor. With these words, it was, we are very happy that we were being selected as a part of session chair for this session. To meet you all wonderful people with different backgrounds and different papers we are discussing. So with these words, I want to conclude the session. If anybody is having any query, he or she can quickly make his her point, so that we are going to wind up the session. So are you all ready to wind up the session? So very good afternoon from this. So please have a better future ahead in the field of research. And we are there if you have any questions and queries or collaboration, research discussion, we are always there. And if you have any point, any suggestions, you can share with us. So with these words, I would love to conclude the session. Thank you very much. So I am talking the
Mr. Malik.
Thank you very much,
you
sir.
very
Thank
much.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Malik and Ms. Karshima Desai.
Thank you so much, Mr. Malik.
Thank you.